I think if I hear you call me Becky one more time, six-pack, I'm gonna pop your tops. All six of them.
Who are you?
Hey, this is Matt once again. Welcome back to another video. This is another paid request, this time from Frame by Frame. And for anyone who wants to request pretty much any type of videos or topics or reactions or reviews or re-reviews or anything in between, pretty much anything, feel free to request either directly to my PayPal or join my Patreon. Both things are down below in the info box. And this is for episode 6 of season 1 of Stranger Things. Now, I want to stress, I don't hate this show. I do think there's a lot of good acting on the show. I do think the kids, in particular, as well as David Harbour as the cop and Winona Ryder as the mom, they do a fairly solid job on point, whether it be the score, some of the songs used. Even this episode, you have a song, I wear sunglasses at night. I have no issues with that. I have no issues with the look, as in the cinematography of the show. It's just, I do strongly feel that you could take these 8 episodes. I know I haven't seen 7 or 8, but these 8 episodes, you could condense them into about a 3-hour movie. Who did that, and I watched a little bit of it because I didn't want to spoil it for if I eventually get to 7 and 8. And the guy did a fairly good job where you got all the important beats of the show, and I didn't feel like I was missing anything, which right then in itself made me go, yeah, you could make this into a 3-hour movie or less than 3-hour film and really not miss any important stuff. Or I thought, yeah, that really wasn't needed, or yeah, that wasn't really that missed. I think you can condense it even more, but again, the guy did a pretty good job. So it's just I just don't think it's the best show ever. Like a lot of people hyped it up when it came out. And people are like, well, you're only watching it episode per episode. You're not watching it all the way through. Because it's supposed to be, at the end of the day, a TV show that's stretched out to 8 episodes. Yeah, I know it's one story. But you say it for a lot of TV shows. Especially modern TV shows, they kind of looked at as one story stretched out. And at the same time, each episode should matter on its own as well as part of a whole. And I do think a lot of these episodes, there's stuff that's filled in there that isn't needed. It's like, we have 8 episodes. The story have to probably fill half of that, but we need more material to shove in there to stretch it out to 8 episodes. That's really how I feel about it. Now, with this episode, last time we saw the one kid's older sister and the missing kid's older brother. They were in the woods. She went into a tree because there was a portal to the other world. She was able to get out of it. He helped her out. They escape. And the look of the monster, to be honest, because he did more of a look in this, disappointing. Because there's really nothing that great about the design of the monster. It feels and seems like a monster I've seen multiple times before. The way it looks on its skin, even the way its mouth opens up, kind of like the creatures in Blade 2, or like an eel. I've seen many monsters where the mouths kind of open up like this. And like I said, the way it's designed, I don't think there's anything that memorable, really. I really don't think there's anything that memorable of a design of this creature. I think there could have been a lot more creativity with that. A lot more. Just saying. I mean, does anyone really look at this and go, wow, that creature was amazing? Maybe they do. I don't know. It's just maybe because I've seen so many other horror and sci-fi movies and TV shows, and I look at this monster and I go, really? Because I got a fairly good look at the beginning of this one. I'm like, okay, whatever. So the two of them escape. Her boyfriend sees the two of them together, writes her name on a movie theater marquee, saying that she's a slut, which leads to a fight in an alleyway where the missing kid's older brother smacks the guy, and they get in a fight, and the guy gets arrested by cops. And I'm going, I honestly don't give a shit about this three-way love story, this love triangle. I really don't give a shit. I think this is a whole subplot you could easily cut out. You could easily cut out the missing kid's older brother and this other kid's older sister and the love story, and then the bully, or I say bully, but the girl's actual boyfriend. I think, again, throughout the show, you could easily cut that out. It really wouldn't demean or belittle or take away from the show. Honestly, I think it would improve the pacing, and it would only be maybe 6 episodes instead of 8. Because the kids make the show. The little kids make the show. They do. The kids. Maybe once in a while, one or David Harbour's character, but stick with the you do with the kids. You could develop the other friends more so, like the Dustin and the Lucas character. You could have all this time with the older brother and sister. That could be the Lucas, the black kid. Dustin, the someone explained what his speech. I forget the actual term. I forget again. I read it, but I forget the terminology. Develop those characters. What's their background? What's their history? What maybe one or two of them. Maybe you have the one kid with 11, and those two, maybe they find the tree portal, and one of them gets sucked into the tree portal, and the other's like, get out of here. Like Lucas, the kid who's unsure, he goes in. Oh my God. Okay, I believe, like, I think that would work better, and you still focus on these kids, which, like I said, them and 11, Winona Ryder, they're the best parts of the show, character-wise, acting-wise. And the kids do work well together. That's why it should be even more of that. Stick to that. Stick to your strength, not to your weaknesses. Speaking of the kids, our sort of lead kid, Mike, Dustin's trying to make him shake hands with Lucas. He doesn't, but he's still pissed that 11 threw him back in the previous episode. Meanwhile, David Harbour and Winona Ryder, they were talking at the end of the last episode. See this woman who is looking after her sister, and the sister, she's a bit catatonic, and apparently she says the sister says her baby was taken. The woman caring for her says, oh no, that baby died early on, but she still believes in that. I mean, no, but the way the show's making it out, and intercut 11, the character, and stuff she's done, as if the audience can't figure that out, as if in case you're too stupid, when they're talking and some person that is telepathic or telekinetic, I should say, they touch to 11, do some telekinetic. I'm like, I know, I get the idea. And truthfully, you don't even need all this, because it doesn't really lead to anything. It's just, because I already know the ending, because that was, when the show came out, a lot of people were talking about how it ends. And then I know about season 2, so I already know, really nothing comes of this mother character. At least in this season, I should say. In this season. It's pretty much them. It's an excuse for David Harbour and Winona Ryder to be told what we already know as an audience. They're told that there's this girl who could be having powers. Well, we, the audience, knows that. We're just sitting there to have these two characters catch up with us, the audience. David Harbour, Winona Ryder, they don't know much about this girl. Well, this sister's going to tell about this girl that Taiwan had talked about. That's her daughter. If this led to the mom having, maybe that's in season 2. Maybe that's in season 3. I don't know for sure on that. But it's not. I know it's not in this season because. Well, actually, I can't. I have 2 episodes left. I can't confirm that. Maybe it does lead to that. Maybe it does lead to that. Maybe it's in episode 7. Maybe it's episode 8. Maybe it is in there. I've seen bits of those, but I haven't seen the whole thing. So to be fair, but it just it just feels like this is here to tell the audience to tell the characters what we, the audience, already know. That's what I'm getting at. I would say the best parts of the episode is either 11 by herself, showing more of her powers, going to a grocery store, grabbing food, like, leave me the fuck alone, you guys can't do anything to me. Or we deal with the little kids, and like they get chased by bullies, and 11 goes in and stops those bullies, saves the Mike from falling off a cliff, breaks a bully's arm, tells him to fuck off. That was cool. Lucas, the black kid, finally does something where he's going to warn them that there's bad guys, which that leads into episode 7. But yeah, you could probably of this 50-some minutes, really, it's stuff with 11 and the little kids that... Because again, the monster that we saw at the beginning, it's not the most inventive, creative design of a monster. It seems like a monster I've seen plentiful amount of times. The David Harbour, Winona Ryder going to see the lady and her sister is like, okay, I already figured this out. Back earlier in the show, when they mentioned this woman and her kid was taken, I'm like, oh, that's 11. And yeah, I was right. But now we have to have the characters be told this. And I'm just sitting there going, yeah, I kind of know exposition. And like I said, the whole love triangle with the girl, her boyfriend, this guy, I just don't give a shit. I don't care about this horse shit. We're almost at the end of the season, and we're worried about this trifecta love triangle horse shit. They make this like a big part of the show, as if it's an important part. That's a good chunk of this episode. Like, imagine if it's in 3 parts. That's one part. The kids in 11 is one part, and David Harbour and Winona Ryder is another part. So of the 3 parts, there's only one of the 3 parts I liked and gave a shit about. So how do I really feel about the episode? Again, you could cut this down to 15 minutes and put it as 10 minutes per part of the movie, and there you go. I guess it's funny. Someone mentioned that they thought I would love this show a lot more. I guess so did I. So did I. As I'm watching this, I would say this is okay but disappointing. With all the hype, that's why I didn't watch it right off the bat. Number one, because I don't have Netflix. I don't have Netflix. Don't give a shit about Netflix. And number two, I didn't want to hear all that hype and be too affected by it. Give it some leeway. Give it some distance. And again, I don't think it's a bad show. The kid actors, what they're doing with the kid actors, the music, the tone as in the score, some of the lighting in certain sequences, the songs used. Once in a while, yeah, cool. Yeah, John Carpenter's. I don't know how many kids in the 80s had a John Carpenter's theme poster. The film was hated when it came out. Did a lot of kids in did little kids in the 80s love John Carpenter's The Thing, or was it like, did they? Because again, that film was hated for a while. So I don't know. I would have had a poster, so I would have. So I guess, that answers my question. Yeah, I don't know what else to say about it. Like I say, it's okay, but this whole the hype is like, okay, if I don't do number grades right now, as I'm on episode 6. Well, funny enough, episode 6, I would right now give it like a 6 out of 10 right now. I'd probably give like a 6 out of 10 so far for a show. Maybe 7. Maybe 6. 6 or 7 out of 10. Maybe. I don't know what else to say. David Harbour, he's better here than he was in Hellboy. Winona Ryder, she's definitely one of the strongest parts of the show. It's just, it's like the story. I guess I thought there'd be more to the story since it stretched out to 8 episodes. I guess I thought there'd be a lot more twists and turns, a lot more intricate details, a lot more these kids. Like, we're almost done with the season. What the fuck do I know about really any of these kids? Mike likes 11. Lucas doesn't trust 11. Dustin is in between. I guess technically Mike knew Lucas a lot more than Dustin because he met Lucas first. That's just like a little bit of dialogue. Oh, is he your best friend? Okay, I know. I got there just a little. And that's why I'm like, I think a lot more could have been done with that. I did like when I looked at the story, I'm like, again, this is a story I would see in plenty of 90-minute movies and just stretched out to each episode's about 50 minutes, so that's almost 8 hours. Well, technically, if it's 50 minutes, probably 7 hours. Maybe maybe 6.5. Does 8, 10 minutes off each. That's an hour. Half. Maybe like 6.5 hours. Which I don't think needed to be that long. I think that's one of the big issues. It's just I see stuff you could be cut out. And I think more interesting stuff, like again, more twists, more turns, more creativity. I I was hoping also for a lot more creativity. I don't know why. I guess because of all the hype, I expected stuff I haven't seen before, but I would just rather watch Stephen King's It from 1990. Honestly. And that's a miniseries, but that's still 3 hours. And I got to like... I have to know who those kids were. Like, that's something where it's 3 hours, because it's a... And you develop those kids. So I know a bit more about Jonathan Brandis' character, who grows up to be the guy from the Waltons. Richard Thomas, I believe. Richard Thomas. Or the kid who grows up to be John Ritter. Like, I get to know these characters. See, that I compare the two because that did develop the characters. And again, that had less time, 3 hours, than this. Like, can you really sit here and say Season 1 or Stephen King's It from 1990? Can you really tell me that that had less screen time, less running time, I should say, but it developed the characters more, the kids? And then they had to share it with their adult versions. And then you look at this. And this is like episode 6. Like, what do I know about these kids, really? That's why 11 is considered the best character, because her, maybe a bit of David Harbour, get development. 11, it's flashbacks to what she was going through, all the tests she was going through, all the stuff she was going through in her head. Not in her head, but with Matthew Modine as her dad, making her do all this stuff. Like, she's the one with actual development. That's why people honed in on 11, because that's really one of the only actual stories being told of a character. Well, that's not fair, because they're doing it with the older brother and the other. Except that story's not interesting. I don't give a fuck about your wannabe love triangle romance. So, to be fair, they are trying to develop that. I just don't care. So, I'm indifferent. We'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.